How many people have ever been discriminated against or may feel less of a person due to the color of their skin, their age, their religion, class, or gender? Or have you ever witnessed someone being treated differently due to any of these factors? Oppression has lived since the beginning of time and affected the inferior groups, and as an African American woman, I have seen discrimination firsthand in 2020. Standing by the inferior group is something that all people can do to show that they support and just let people know that you see an issue present, even if you do not understand due to lack of experience. All people should strive to be an ally and uplift people of color, being that racism is a huge issue in 2020. Today, I'm going to show you a few ways you can be an ally to all African Americans around you. Recognizing privilege, attending social events, or speaking up on particular situations are all ways that a person can become an ally to people of color. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is simply recognizing that if you are white, you are privileged due to the color of your skin and due to the color of your skin. And the first thing you can do is become an ally. To become an ally is recognize it. Racism is defined by David Wellman as a system of advantages based on race. Racial privilege always goes unseen or undefended by those of the Asian or dominant groups, the majority of the time whites. This image is a photo of a white woman at a Black Lives Matter protest with a sign that reads, "I hear you, I see you, I stand with you, Black Lives Matter." The idea of whiteness has been used to cover up instances of prejudice and racism, or even as an excuse to not acknowledge the privilege that lives within them. Whiteness is allowed to dominate because it has the ability to be nothing. When it comes to the racial issues, the acknowledgement of privilege is the first step to attempt to get rid of racism and discrimination. Within our society, race is the most socially destructive category of discrimination. Race has been culturally constructed by society and can be deliberately turned around by society. White privilege differs from racism and is commonly referred to as legal and systematic advantages put into place for white people. This is a known fact, and it makes it a lot easier to support people of color when this can be recognized by people wanting to help, ideally all people who benefit from it. Next, I'll be going into how attending social events like protests, marches, and speeches helps a person become an ally for people of color. Attending social events to show that you support and stand by people of color is a big thing to do. When showing up at African Americans, doing the work from a place of self-love is ideal. This third image shows a few reasons as to why people decide to be an ally, but not for the right reasons. Some of the reasons shown are for personal benefit, white fragility, and wanting to be the center of attention. It is always easier to do the right thing when you can put yourself in the shoes of the victim and question how you would want to be treated in this particular situation. Members of society are aware of these labels and limitations these labels put on the lives of their targets. The ability to recognize radical interconnections offers one way to negotiate the divisions between us and them. It is easier to ignore or disassociate yourself from a situation when you can separate yourself from the problem. Making racism an us problem makes it easier for you to react genuinely, to be an ally, and to work and to see the work that must be put in. Attending social events are very sacred for people of color. At a time like this, they should be uplifted and encouraged instead of burdened. With being an ally, you have to know why you're making the decision to protest and speak out. Wanting to feel good is not a reason to want to be an ally. You have to stand behind something you believe in and put your foot down. You have to want to be a part of the change, make changes for the right reasons. Understanding why you are becoming an ally is very big because while you may be doing it to support a friend or a colleague, there are people of color fighting for their lives and actually putting their lives on the line to see change within this world. As a person that benefits from systematic white privilege, speaking out on situations at hand can go a very long way. Maybe even encourage the people around you to do the same. To become an easy ally, it'll be ideal to break out of the silence that has been around for too long. Silence is consent. And to become an ally, there are events that can be attended to show people that you stand by people of color, if not race, at least right and wrong. Silence is a lot of the time a part of the issue. When a person refuses to speak up regarding a situation, it insinuates that what is going on is perfectly okay in their eyes, and that is the complete opposite. As teenagers, a lot of us live on social media and think sometimes we can underestimate the power that we have in our lives over our peers. Sometimes all it takes is for one person to start a chain reaction, and all people will end up backing up a particular situation. It should be made known that this is not okay, and it is okay to discuss the problems at hand. It should not be a forbidden topic within families or friend groups. Discussion is recognizing and accepting that there is a problem that we are having. As an ally to people of color, you should make it your business to spread the awareness and love. There are so many people participating in hate crimes, bashing, and discrimination against people of color. You may be that one person to change another person's life around. You may encourage others to step out of their comfort zone and stand up for what is right. Speaking up may sound like something simple, but I'm sure there are other things to worry about, like reaping the consequences. Consequences that may include backlash or hate comments for wanting to support. And being a good person is sometimes worth the trouble that comes with it. Understanding right and wrong, that some people do wrong things, is really a big step in taking steps forward. So far, I have discussed recognizing privilege, attending social events, and speaking up on particular situations, and how they are all ways a person can become an ally to people of color. All people should strive to be an ally and uplift people that are affected by racism. Racism is a huge issue in 2020, and privilege is something that will always be present in the lives of privileged people. The privilege that one person has shapes almost every aspect of their lives. A person privileged allows them to not have to worry or deal with real life issues that reside in the world that we live in today. Being privileged comes with a sense of power, and the power goes a long way when deciding to become an ally for a group of underprivileged people. Being an ally, you have the potential to see both sides of the racism spectrum. There are some things that minority groups or targeted groups deal with that a privileged person could never understand unless they've been through similar situations or taken the time to understand. Using the privilege to become an ally is one of the best things to be done to help bring light and change to Pacific issues. Thank you for listening.